Okay, so this, my name is Courtney Neubauer, and this is our nutrition support monthly call for September. Today, we're going to go over our state oversight plan and where we are with that. Also, the child nutrition emergency cost guidance, PEBT local level funding, our school year 21-22 waivers, school year 21-22 operational updates, some updates regarding Hurricane Ida recovery, training updates, and then other program updates. So our state oversight plan, we do have the waiver that provides flexibility for administrative reviews in school year 21-22. And this waiver waives certain program requirements to ensure that we are still able to conduct administrative reviews when our school systems are only operating the seamless summer option in school year 21-22. So with very few modifications, we can resume administrative reviews for school year 21-22, even if the school system is only operating seamless summer. So our reviews that were originally scheduled in school year 2021 were postponed until this school year of 21-22, and our reviews that were originally scheduled for school year 21-22 will now occur in school year 22-23. We have updated our administrative review schedule to include last year's technical assistance and then the reviews for this year. Do know that the dates of the reviews have not been determined. So this review schedule only contains the school systems in which they will have a review, but not the actual date of the review. So for administrative reviews, we are hoping that later this week, CN Resource will send out an introductory email reaching SFAs that are scheduled for the review this school year. CN Resource and LDOE are planning to conduct an administrative review training in October, and we will have more information on that very soon. And tentatively, we hope to start reviews in mid-November. At this time, administrative reviews will be conducted entirely off-site. Site reviews will be virtual until it is safe for us to return to in-person site reviews. We had hoped that we would be able to do in-person site reviews this school year, but with the Delta variant, that has been a little bit more of a challenge. So at this point, we are anticipating virtual site visits probably for the entire review cycle. But if it is safe for us to resume in-person site visits, we will do so. So we had envisioned that this would be kind of the introductory conversation about the reviews that are going to be starting. And we had wanted to have CN Resource reach out. And then, of course, with last week and most of us were out of power for a very extended period of time, it is possible that some of these dates of when CN Resource will begin reaching out may be slightly delayed. But we are hoping that by the end of the week, we will be able to start reaching out with some introductory emails. We also still have the waiver of the on-site monitoring requirements in our school meal programs. And this is from July 1st to 30 days after the end of the public health emergency. This is what allows us to do that administrative review off-site. And so we, at this point, do not know when the 30 days after the end of the public health emergency will happen, but we are anticipating that this will probably be a good bit longer. So we will do offsite reviews as long as we need to. Also, this monitoring waiver also affects the on-site monitoring that the school systems conduct. Those are due by February 1st, and those can also be conducted through off-site means. And the monitoring requirements for Seamless Summer are the same as the National School Lunch Program, so that February 1st on-site monitoring is still a requirement under for the school systems that are operating the Seamless Summer option. There's also a waiver of the on-site monitoring requirements in CACFP, and that has the same end date of 30 days after the end of the public health emergency. This allows for the on-site portion of the monitoring reviews to also be conducted off-site. Now we'll move on to the child nutrition emergency cost guidance. So over the last week, we've received many emails about this particular program. So this, the emergency cost grant is meant to provide additional funding for child nutrition operators whose revenues were decreased or interrupted during the early days of the public health emergency. This is not intended to address funding shortfalls. The relief is not intended to address increased costs due to COVID. And it also, the payment formula is tied to the past reimbursements as a result. Funds must be deposited in the nonprofit food service account and can be used in accordance with normal program requirements. USDA published initial guidance and questions and answers regarding this child nutrition program, the emergency cost guidance in January. They also released additional information in March, and they most recently released the child nutrition emergency operational cost questions and answers number 3, which was released in August. We did also host a training regarding emergency operating costs in April, and you can access the slides and the recording on Louisiana Fit Kids. So the question we get asked often over the last week is about these payments. So on August 26th, via electronic funds transfer, the School Food Service Emergency Operational Cost Reimbursement Program funds went into the accounts. So payments contained the comment CNP emerge costs in the LaGov payment system. So if you received a comment or a question from your business office about a fund or some money that had been deposited into the account, have them look in the comment line. If it says CNP emerge costs, it is the emergency cost guidance related to the CNP program. Also, any school system that received payments under the CACFP Emergency Operational Cost Reimbursement Program received those funds on Monday, August 30th. And then these payments contained the comment CNP emerge CACFP in the LaGov system. And do note, due to the hurricane, it is possible that some of these reimbursements were delayed, but these two payments were started before the hurricane, therefore it should have been received. So once deposited, the emergency operational cost funds do not need to be tracked separately from other funds in the nonprofit school food service account. Funds should be treated as fiscal year 2021 funding in line with the award date during the same fiscal year and the period performance end date, which is September 30th, 2021. Program operators must maintain documentation to ensure funds are used solely for allowable program costs, as they would with any other program funds. The CFDA numbers are the same as the program CFDA numbers. So NSLP is 10.555 and CACFP is 10.558. PEBT and local level funding for schools. So DCFS has developed a suggested communication for schools document and sample form for schools to provide to parents when requesting address or mode of instruction changes. These resources can assist schools with communication regarding PEBT questions and benefits. And we have posted memo SFS 21-X220, which can answer questions about that communication document. Also, parents should be directed to the new parent portal for viewing and managing all of their children's PEBT benefit cases. The new portal will assist families with determining if they are to receive benefits, what amounts they will or have received on their PEBT card, and when additional funds have been added to their cards. School systems should provide this link and information about the portal to parents to help it lessen the number of calls and questions regarding the children's benefits. DCFS has also released a new PEBT administrative portal. This portal will provide the following features. So it allows school systems to upload spreadsheets, fix exceptions or data errors, edit certain case details and student data, edit details on affiliated schools, add a new affiliated school, and search for student details associated to benefits that have already been issued. And to access the PEBT admin portal, the school data managers need to have a myla.gov account. If additional staff need access, please work with your school data managers to get access. The summer data file submission has, so school systems were asked to submit their summer PEBT data by this past Friday. So right before, Friday, August 27th. So right before Hurricane Ida. And they were to be submitted through the PEBT administrative portal. If you have not already done so, you need to make sure that your data managers have submitted those files. Many of our child nutrition directors in very small schools are also the data managers. So you do want to make sure that you get that information in if that is also one of your responsibilities. And this file should include all students that were not already included in the school's submission of PEBT data for the school year. So the way a student qualifies for summer is that they attended at least one day of school in May. So they were in school at the end of the school year, and that school participates in the National School Lunch Program. And then also that they were either at a CEP school or they were free or reduced. So the summer benefits are not tied to the hybrid or virtual requirement. It is just whether the child was in school and was eligible for free or reduced price lunch. So now it's since we've already had Christmas in August with the emergency cost reimbursement, we also have Christmas in September with the PEBT local level funding for schools. So in addition to benefit awards that were directly issued to families, USDA has made funding available to all operators of the National School Lunch Program and School Breakfast Program that were responsible for activities related to the fiscal year 2021 state pandemic electronic benefits transfer, or PEBT. LDOE is responsible for providing funding to those schools. And remember, fiscal year 21 PEBT activities are all activities that occurred between October 2020 and September 2021 in conjunction to PEBT benefits that were issued in either school year 2021 and also summer 2021. Districts that opted to operate seamless summer option or SFSP in place of traditional NSLP are also eligible. So USDA released new flexibilities to the local level funding reimbursement process. So instead of submitting a request, the state had the flexibility to award a specific dollar amount to all eligible entities based on the number of PEBT eligible children in lieu of collecting itemized cost information. Local level PEBT funded payments were intended to be made on Monday, August 30th, but due to Hurricane Ida, this has been delayed, and the new payment date has not yet been determined. But when that payment does come, it will contain the comment FNS PEBT LOC ADM, which is FNS PEBT local admin is what that stands for. And that will be in the LaGov payment system. And this CFDA number is 10.649. School year 21-22 waivers. So just as a reminder, we have multiple waivers for this school year. The seamless summer option can be operated through the entire school year. We also have the waiver to allow summer food service program reimbursement rates, the nationwide waiver to allow non-congregate meal service, the nationwide waiver of mealtime flexibility, the nationwide waiver to allow parents and guardians to pick up meals, the waiver to allow specific school meal pattern flexibility, the waiver to allow specific meal pattern flexibility in the CACFP program, the waiver to allow offer versus serve flexibility for senior high school students, the waiver of area eligibility and after-school programs, the nationwide waiver of on-site monitoring requirements, the nationwide waiver of the on-site monitoring requirements in CACFP, and our nationwide monitoring requirements for sponsors in CACFP. Our waiver opt-ins are part of the online application. So when you go to submit your online application under forms, there will be a section called waivers. You will need to opt in or opt out to all of the waivers. I often get asked which waivers a school system should definitely be opting into. And I would say that the two waivers that I would expect most, if not all, to opt in would be the second to last waiver on the list, which is the waiver of the sodium flexibility. And so that allows for school systems to continue following the sodium restrictions that they've been following for many, many years versus the more restrictive sodium requirements in Target 2. And then the last waiver on the list is the waiver that allows for school systems to receive that summer food service reimbursement when they're operating the seamless summer option. So those are the two waivers that I would expect most of our school systems to need. And then there may be some of the other ones on the list. The meal pattern flexibility, possibly if you're looking for that for whole grain, or if you're doing parent pickup, there's all these other waivers, but I would say those two, the sodium flexibility and the SFSP reimbursement, are the two that most would need. So the waiver to allow the seamless summer options through school year 21-22, this allows for the seamless summer option to be operated during the regular school year. And this is available to all SFAs, which includes our RCCIs. It can be used at any school, regardless of its location or the type of site. So it can be an open or a closed site. And so what this allows for is for students to receive meals basically at no cost. So this is the option similar to last year where all students were free, but this year it will be under the seamless summer option. So all schools can operate SSO during the regular school year. All children 18 and under can receive meals at no charge. Meals do not need to be counted or claimed by eligibility category. Area eligibility waiver is not necessary, so all schools can participate regardless of its location or percentage of students that are eligible for free or reduced price meals. And you can operate as an open or a closed enrolled site. And do note that only 2 meals can be served under seamless summer, so that is traditionally breakfast and lunch. after school snack can be served, but it would not be served under Seamless Summer. It would be served either under the National School Lunch After School Snack Program or CACFP at-risk meals for school year 21-22. The next waiver, the waiver to allow the summer food service reimbursement rates. This is allows SFAs to operate Seamless Summer and to claim those meals at the higher SFSP reimbursement rates. The reimbursement rates will be the high rate for summer, so what is traditionally known as the rural or self-prep rate. Do know that SFAs that choose to operate traditional national school lunch program will not receive these higher reimbursement rates. So it is only for the school systems that are choosing to operate the Seamless Summer option for the school year 21-22. The summer food service program has not been extended. So we are going to we will have the Seamless Summer option, which better positions schools to serve more nutritious meals. So in school year 21-22, you can choose to either operate the Seamless Summer option with those higher SFSP reimbursement rates, or traditional National School Lunch and School Breakfast program with the subsequent National School Lunch, School Breakfast reimbursement rates. There are additional waivers that will assist with operational flexibilities. These are the non-congregate meal waiver, the mealtime flexibility, parent guardian pickup, and offer versus serve flexibility. So local operators should use these waivers only for the duration and extent needed. And USDA also encourages SFAs to return to standard meal service operations whenever it is safe to do so. So the waiver to allow non-congregate meal service, this is the same as we've seen for now. We feel like we're approaching 2 years. The removal of the requirement that meals must be served in a congregate setting. We often get asked this question and about congregate settings, and if you are serving children at school and they are eating outside in their classroom, some in the gym, that is still considered congregate feeding. So non-congregate would be when they take that food and leave your campus. So they are taking it to their home to consume those meals. That would be considered non-congregate. So if you would not need this waiver if all of your kids are in person and you're feeding them on campus, even if on campus means that you're feeding them outside under the tree, or they're able to sit in small groups scattered all over the campus, that would still be considered a congregate meal service. The waiver of mealtime requirements. So this allows meals to be served outside the standard meal times. And so this allows schools the flexibility to provide meal pickup options for your students that are learning virtually, or grab and go meals for students that are in school. The non-congregate and mealtime flexibility waiver, when those two waivers are used in conjunction of each other, it allows for the option to provide meals through delivery. So the sponsor must obtain written consent from households before delivery of meals can occur, and the state agency must approve your meal delivery plan before providing meals to homes. The waiver to allow parent guardian pickup. So children do not have to be present to pick up the meals. So if you choose to use this waiver, but sponsors must ensure program integrity, and you must have a documented process in place to ensure meals are distributed only to parents and guardian of eligible children. The waiver to allow offer versus serve flexibilities. So if you recall, under the National School Lunch or Seamless Summer option, offer versus serve is required for senior high schools for lunch only. So what this waiver does is allows for that to be completely optional. So you do not have to utilize offer versus serve for your senior high schools at lunch. So it is only an option. So you can still utilize offer versus serve. You can use offer versus serve even for your younger children, but it's never a requirement for any age grade group except for senior high schools at lunch. So this removes that requirement to where it makes it an optional meal service flexibility versus making it required that you must utilize offer versus serve. The waiver to allow specific school meal pattern flexibilities. So with justification, there are specific meal pattern flexibilities that are waived to allow program operators to serve meals that may not meet the nutrition standards. Do note that we also have another waiver. So a previous waiver, which is the Child Nutrition Response number 74, which is a broader meal pattern flexibility in seamless summer. And this waiver is good through September 30th, 2021. And as we move a little bit later to talk about the recovery from Hurricane Ida, this particular meal pattern waiver may be something that needs to be utilized for some of our school systems as they start to plan to have kids returning to campus. So our specific school meal pattern flexibility, the following requirements are waived. So it waives the requirement that menus must meet the dietary specification for sodium. It also waives the requirement that all grains must be whole grain rich, that for preschoolers, at least one serving per day across all eating occasions must be whole grain rich, the requirement to offer a variety of vegetables from the vegetable subgroups, the requirement to offer a variety of at least 2 different options of fluid milk, also waives the requirement that low-fat milk must be unflavored, and that schools must plan menus and offer food components for specific age grade groups in the stated combinations. So other than sodium, all of these other requirements will be approved on a case-by-case basis. So please, on the waiver itself, explain your reason for needing this, and we will do our best to approve that. But do make sure that you are clear in your reason as to why you need this flexibility. And if you want to talk through it, feel free to call us, and we'll be happy to talk through some of tell us what you're trying to do, and we'll help you figure out how to request that in the form of a waiver. This meal pattern waiver provides flexibilities for very specific requirements. All of other meal pattern requirements remain in effect, and USDA has offered these specific flexibilities to support schools with offering alternative meal service models and still supporting social distancing. This specific meal pattern waiver does not allow SFAs to not serve an entire component. It does not allow for school systems to serve less than the required amounts to meet the daily and weekly requirements, or provide flexibilities for meeting the meal pattern requirements due to product shortages or delivery issues. We also have the waiver to allow specific meal pattern flexibilities in CACFP, and similar to what we saw with the school systems, this allows very specific requirements to be waived as it relates to the CACFP meal pattern. The following specific requirements are waived: that at least one serving per day of grain must be whole grain rich, that crediting of grains by ounce equivalents must be fully implemented by October 1st, 2021, and that low-fat milk must be unflavored. And once again, these would be approved on a case-by-case basis, so you would want to put your justification in there. For most of our school systems, you're already offering at least one serving of grain, whole grain, so that's probably not a hard requirement to continue to meet. And then also the crediting of grains by ounce equivalents. We've been doing that in schools for so long. That's probably something that most school systems are very accustomed to already doing. We also have the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2021 that does have an effect on child nutrition programs. And so this is effective through September 30th, 2021. It allows for the substitution of vegetable for fruit under the school breakfast program. It prohibits funds from being used to procure raw or processed poultry products from the People's Republic of China. It provides guidance related to pricing of paid lunches for the National School Lunch Program during school year 21-22, and it allows the offering of low-fat 1% flavored milk in the National School Lunch and School Breakfast Program. So through September 30th, you can offer low-fat 1% flavored milk without a waiver. After September 30th, you would need that meal pattern waiver to continue to do so. So if you need that waiver, you would need to ask for that before September 30th. The waiver of area eligibility in the after-school programs and the family and daycare homes. This allows schools and at-risk centers to claim all meals and snacks at the free rate, regardless of location. It also allows the family daycare homes to claim meals at the Tier 1 rate, regardless of location. The enrichment requirement for the after-school meals has not been waived. So there is still an enrichment component that is required for after-school snacks and suppers. And guidance has allowed for this to be digital if necessary. Do make sure that enrichment activities include options that are accessible for all participating children. School year 21-22 operational updates. So the Department of Education does have the Ready to Achieve operational guidebook, which includes best practices for returning to in-person learning. And this document also is updated frequently. So do look for updates in this, as it will continue to change as more guidance has received from LDH and CDC. USDA has released 3 questions and answer memos, which provides questions related to C&P operations, and all of those are posted on our website as well as linked here. We have updated our online application to increase usability. We have had trainings on the National School Lunch and Seamless Summer option. For more information, you can refer to the slides and the video. Also, be sure that you complete the National School Lunch online application before completing the Seamless Summer application. And you will need to make sure that the waiver selections are made, and it requires either an opt-in or an opt-out response for all of the choices. If you have opted out of something that you now have determined that you need, just send us an email and we would be happy to release those back to you for you to make those edits. So if you determine that you need something, just let us know and we can release that to you. We also have the Seamless Summer at a Glance resource, which can assist with completing Seamless Summer applications. The applications were originally due August 27th. We did extend that to September 3rd. If you are a school system that is still struggling with that deadline of September 3rd, which was this past Friday due to Hurricane Ida, please let us know. It is very important that we get these applications in as soon as possible, as the approval of that application is what will allow school systems to file claims. So without having those applications in and approved, the claim system will not allow you to claim meals. So as we approach the end of now at the end of August, I'm sure school systems are ready to claim those August meals. So we need to get those applications in and approved so that you can continue to do so. Also, we do have the important due date resource, which is on our website, and it has additional school year 21-22 upcoming deadlines. The average meal cost spreadsheet is on our website. This will assist with completion of the average meal cost section of the Schedule A. So we are looking that information is completed, and this document will assist you with doing so. Any SFA with a positive or zero balance in its nonprofit school food service account as of December 31st, 2020 is exempt from the PLE pricing requirements. If you operated only SSO during school year 21-22, then you do not need to follow the PLE requirements for school year 21-22. Also, please note that when completing the PLE tool, if you don't have the data from October 2020, you can use October 2019 data. The school year 21-22 state attendance factor is we have a memo posted, it's 24.14. RCCIs will still have an attendance factor of 100%. Unless a custom attendance factor is requested by the SFA, the default will be the state's currently approved factor of 94.14. SFAs may not provide weekend or holiday meals through Seamless Summer when school is in session during the regular school year. Weekend and holiday meals may be provided through CACFP at-risk meals in school year 21-22. Also, if you are an RCCI, so a residential child care institution, and you traditionally operate 365 days out of the year under the National School Lunch Program, you would still be able to do that under the Seamless Summer option. The media release is schools operating Seamless Summer must still provide notification regarding the availability of school meals and the eligibility criteria at or near the beginning of the school year. So schools participating in Seamless Summer should notify households that all meals will be free. We've posted memo SFS 21-X199 for templates of public releases and other free or reduced forms. We also did a training on July 28th, which is also posted on the website. All SFAs operating Seamless Summer, even those that are not planning to process application, are still required to use EScholar to directly certify students. Updates are still available monthly. I would expect that we're going to get our August file very, very soon, but we do have the July file available right now. And the requirement to notify households of direct certification eligibility has not been waived. We do have templates that have been created, which includes language that explains why households are receiving the letter, even though the children are all free. The school meal application is used to determine eligibility for free or reduced price meals, and also by extension, PEBT eligibility. School systems must make applications available as needed to certify children for free and reduced price meals. And this may also be used to qualify newly eligible children for PEBT benefits for school year 21-22, as well as summer 2022. So you'll see that that is the current school year and the summer that is going to follow this current school year. So at this time, we have received guidance that PEBT will exist throughout school year 21-22 and also summer 22. So I strongly encourage you to think back on the processes that were needed to capture this information retrospectively and think ahead about how we can make sure that these hybrid and virtual students are indicated much earlier in the school year so that it'll be easier for data collection as we move through the school year. So there has not been a request at this time for PEBT for school year 21-22 or summer 2022. But just as we're thinking ahead, making sure that the data is clean early on will make everybody's jobs easier as we approach the request for that information at a later date. The United States Department of Education has also developed a fact sheet to support school districts in determining other ways to allocate the Title I funds. So we're trying to find ways that don't necessarily rely on school meals data. A lot of school systems have been utilizing the survey, which collects the same information as the application. We also have updated free and reduced forms, which are available on our website. Verification for school year 21-22. So if a school system collects an application in school year 21-22, you are required to conduct verification, even if that application was received for the purposes of PEBT. So no matter what the reason, if an application was received, then verification will need to be conducted. The sample size used to conduct verification must be based on the number of approved applications on file as of October 1st, 2021. So we have less than a month away before we'll be looking at that information for verification, but it's going to be here before we know it. Community eligibility. So we are really close to the deadline for making final elections regarding CEP participation for school year 21-22 through the Child Nutrition website. If you need to, you can resubmit your population data. The identified student percentage can be calculated from any date between July 1st, 2020 and June 30th, 2021. Lily has been reaching out to districts who have not completed that final confirmation. So if you received an email, well, roughly about 2 weeks ago, saying that you needed to complete that final confirmation, then you have not completed this final step and still need to do so. So when you log on to your website, to our website, you should see the 2022 CEP elections box, like what's listed here on the middle of this page. And so you're looking for this status to say A. If you still have a status of S here, you have not completed the final step and you are still only in submitted and you have not accepted those final submissions. So please log on and do that one final step, and you'll know that you've done so when this appears to be an A and no longer an S. Okay, we have a new memo that should be posted very soon. So on August 31st, our governor renewed the state of emergency for COVID-19 in Proclamation 168, JBE 2021. And this included the suspension of the Louisiana public bid law and allows emergency procurement of goods and services necessary to responding to the COVID-19 emergency. And this proclamation extended those provisions until September 29th. Also, as a reminder, school food authorities and sponsors may use the regulatory authority found in federal procurement regulations, which allows operators to use the emergency non-competitive proposal procurement method to negotiate a new one-year contract for school year 21-22. So now we'll talk about Hurricane Ida, and hopefully many of you have recovered. If you are kind of in the northern part of the state, you may not have seen as much of just the devastation to some of the very southern parts of Louisiana. But it's some of it we are hearing power restorations of September 29th and later. So it is just too hot in Louisiana to not have power. So it totally, some areas have just been completely devastated. And so our state offices were closed all of last week. Even in Baton Rouge, we did have some effects of Hurricane Ida, and some of our staff who live outside of Baton Rouge have had longstanding power outages and some damage to homes and property, but not nearly to the effect of some of our friends and neighbors that are in southern Louisiana. So we are keeping all of those school systems in our thoughts. And if you need anything, if you're on this call or you have friends that are in that area, please have them reach out to us. We're here to help in any way that we can as they start to get a plan moving forward. So we did, right before this hurricane hit, we had posted a reminder of our hurricane preparedness training that Helen had done back in May of 2021. It is full of some really great resources. So I'm sure many of you were thinking, why do I even want to listen to a training right now as we're getting ready for a hurricane? But there were just so many links to so many resources in there that it was really very difficult to figure out what was most important. So that was posted so that you could use that as a resource as you're planning for the hurricane and also the recovery. So that is available, and I still strongly encourage anybody who needs to do so to print it and also keep a saved copy so you can get to all those resources, because there are some really great things in that presentation. I've also linked a few contacts that are really important. So Louisiana Department of Health and your local sanitarian's office, there's a link to all of their contacts. The Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Parish contacts, the Red Cross, FEMA, and then Department of Children and Family Services. So as we know, with all of our hurricanes that we've been through over the years, that DSNAP or disaster SNAP comes about after one of these hurricanes or natural disasters. So I do encourage our school systems who are in these areas to recommend to their families to pre-register for the DSNAP benefits. So once that is approved and certain parishes are approved for benefits, they will be pre-approved or have application already in to where it'll make that process a little bit easier. A side note on the importance of DSNAP for our particular programs is that disaster SNAP, just like with regular SNAP, considers a child identified, which in turn will increase the identified student percentage as we move into CEP elections for school year 22-23. So it does benefit the families as well, but also our programs will see a benefit from increasing those numbers as we increase the number of identified students. So normally when we have a hurricane, we are scrambling to ask for many waivers to help feed children in the response to those hurricanes. What has been different both last year with Hurricane Laura and this year with Hurricane Ida is that USDA already has a large number of national waivers that can be used to feed children during COVID, but also in response to the hurricane. So it makes it a little bit easier, and where we don't have to ask for as much to support our school systems as we've had to do in previous years. So all of those COVID-19 national waivers can be used to feed children even in response to Hurricane Ida. And this also includes the Child Nutrition Response number 74. And this is that much broader meal pattern flexibility that can be used through September 30th, 2021. And so if you're seeing that narrow meal pattern waiver is not quite meeting your needs as we are opening up schools, as we're trying to feed kids, as the power's restored to certain areas, reach out to us and we will see how we can assist with meeting the requirements and getting the meals to the kids in the highest need. Also, the procurement flexibility. So there's procurement flexibilities of using the emergency procurement that is also available for in response to Hurricane Ida. So if you need any assistance at all, just contact us. I had a school system call today, and we were able to work through coming up with a solution for meeting the meal pattern requirements as school reopens. We do know that a lot of the vendors were in these hard hit areas. So as you're getting information from them, please communicate that with us, and we can try to find solutions to work through many of the problems that may be coming about with supply chain issues. We also have other USDA guidance that can be used. So their meal service is allowed during unanticipated school closures. So if this is something that you need to utilize, just reach out to us. So I know many of you are probably still in that initial recovery stage where there's 90% or more of your area that is completely out of power. The families may not have returned yet because school has not returned. So if you find as the next few days or weeks go on and that there's a need, please reach out to us and we will assist you in any way that we can. If there are supply chain issues, so first and foremost, if it is something related to commodities, I do encourage you to reach out to the Louisiana State Commodity Distribution Agency, which is LDAF, and I've included all of their contact information if you are needing to reach out to them. We also have on our website a food service vendor list that you can refer to if you're trying to find a vendor to service your particular school. We have a few schools that are kind of scrambling to find a vendor for the short term due to damage to the area where their particular vendor was. So if that is you, please, you can refer to this list, or you can also reach out to us and we would be happy to try to assist you in any way that we can. Training updates. So our trainings are located on the Louisiana Fit Kids website. You will receive a follow-up email confirming your attendance. So right before you logged on, when you put in your information, as long as you did that step, you'll receive an email that you attended the training. And we do also encourage you to complete the questionnaire or the evaluation, which is located in the same spot where you would have gone to register on Louisiana Fit Kids. We really appreciate feedback on our trainings. The registration for the September trainings are now available, and we do record the slides or the trainings and have the slides posted after the trainings have occurred. We have a lot of virtual trainings coming up, so they're listed here. We've got production records, we have understanding childhood obesity, which I'll talk about on the next slide, HACCP and wellness policy. We also are going to do our website reveal and training. We have meal claiming, and then equipment grant training and whole grains. We also do hope to reschedule the August 31st National School Lunch Program meal pattern and offer versus serve training very soon. So I know some of you were on that training last Tuesday, but we did have to cancel that due to Hurricane Ida, and we do hope to schedule that very soon, and we'll make sure that we get that information out. Our next monthly call is Tuesday, October 6th at 1 o'clock. Okay, so our Understanding Childhood Obesity, the webinar series. So our registration for the second webinar is on Louisiana Fit Kids website. This is the second of this series. And so we are going to have a guest speaker. I wish I could pronounce his last name, but I'm not even going to try. But he is the author of a study that was recently released in the Journal of the American Medical Association that found that school meals are now the single healthiest place Americans are eating. And so I think many of us probably saw this study, and it was really kind of it kind of was like, wow, we always hear about how some of our families don't feel like we're feeding their children healthy foods, but yet through this large study found that schools are now the single healthiest place that children are eating. So we are encouraging you to join us on September 14th at 1:30. You can register on the Louisiana Fit Kids website. We've also posted a memo on our website, but strongly encourage you to come. I know most of us are very excited about listening to this guest speaker. Also, manager training. So you still have the ability to request manager training at no cost to the SFA. We have to have at least a minimum of 10 participants. It can be virtual or in person. So if you are interested in that, please let us know. Other updates, so eScholar updates. As you know, we have been working closely with eScholar on a project that will improve the matching system. So it has gone live. This improved system allows schools to match student enrollment against program records, as it always has, but we've expanded that and are continuing to expand that to include not only SNAP, but also TANF, foster care, migrant students, DC extended, and manual matching. So TANF, as you probably know, for I guess the last year, we've posted the reminder that SNAP files are available for download, and then also TANF files. But we've asked you not to download the TANF file into your software, and the reason why is because the format was very different, and it was not going to work to have it accepted into the food service software without it overriding the data, or the process would have required you to manually look up each of the students to figure out who wasn't already receiving SNAP to make that child TANF. So to avoid that very difficult process, we have held off on the matching process for TANF until we were able to make the file download the same as SNAP. So it will be available for matching through eScholar in September, which is right now, so very soon. The file download will be the same format as SNAP. Both the SNAP and the TANF files should be accepted by your software without overriding the data. And you'll see both the DM index and the 3.0 file will be available for download. And we have been working closely with some of the main food nutrition software programs that you use to try to make sure that these processes are as seamless as possible as we make this transition. We also are going to be introducing the CEP Manager, which is going to be an extension of eScholar. It will be released in time for the April 2022 CEP population data. And so you're probably wondering, why are we talking about this so early when we're still only in September? But because of the way this new CEP Manager will work, it's going to pull data from the eScholar system. So it's going to rely on data that is pulled from your SNAP matches, your TANF matches, foster children, homeless, migrant, Head Start. So it's going to pull from all of these different systems to give an accurate number. So we need to make sure that as we lead up to the opening of the CEP Manager, that you are ensuring that all of your matches, which includes our manual match system, that is, and the address matching, which we will release in October, are done in eScholar, because we need to make sure that all of those identified students are being captured in eScholar and not just in your food service software. So we're going to need to make sure that it's in eScholar to have it populate correctly into the CEP Manager. As a reminder, the pre-approved equipment list, it's posted on our website. If the equipment is not on our list, then you have to ask for pre-approval and send that in to us. Also, we're really close to the deadline for Turn Up the Beat. So this recognizes outstanding summer meal program sponsors who worked hard to offer high quality meals. Sponsors who used USDA waivers in response to COVID-19 are also eligible, and nominations are due to the state agency by September 10th. So please, please, please make sure that you get those nominations in to us by the 10th. Now I'm going to open it up to questions. I did see that there were a few questions coming in that I think I'll be able to answer. So feel free to send some questions to the chat box, and I will do my best to answer those. Okay, there's a few questions related to supply chain issues. So we do know that there is a huge problem with the supply chain right now. So if you are looking at those waivers and some of those meal pattern waiver flexibilities or something that would assist with what's happening, you can ask for that waiver for the entire school year. So if it's the whole grain requirement, and you're trying to be whole grain, everything to be whole grain, but you know every now and then or a couple of times a month you're having to substitute non-whole grain items, then ask for that waiver for the entire school year, and then just in your justification that you're going to try to offer 100% whole grain items, but due to supply chain issues, you are going to you may have to make substitutions and therefore need to utilize the waiver. So if there's something that you can ask for in the broad term of that meal pattern flexibility, then you do so, and then you would only have to ask for it one time. If there are situations where it's a little bit more it's a unique situation. So the milk truck didn't come and you didn't have enough milk for X school, or whatever the situation would be, then those would be things that we may need to talk about a little bit more of, like on a case by case basis. But if there is something that you can ask for in those waivers that covers you to where you don't have to ask for every single time that something happens, that then do ask for that and allow us to approve that for the entire year, so you're not having to really come back and do something on a daily basis. If there are specific items that you need help with, just contact us and we'll be happy to help you with that. The CEP manager, no one has access to the CEP manager yet, so it hasn't been released to where you can access that particular application. So it's an abacus on the toolbar, but it has not been released to where you can access the actual worksheet. CEP manager is basically our CEP worksheet, which will now be in eScholar. So once some of the final changes are made, you will receive access to that, but it'll be a little while before you can get to that, which we don't really need at this point due to the fact that is where all those numbers are going to be consolidated. So some of the other processes where matching is where we really need to focus on making sure that all of that is done. I know that we have a question about PEBT and getting the spreadsheets in. So all of our offices were closed for all of last week. So I'm going to assume that also included DCFS, their offices that are in Baton Rouge, because they're also state employees, as well as educational technology, which is part of our Division of Administration, being that they're also housed in Baton Rouge. So due to all those office closures, I'm sure that they're really trying to catch up on all of the requests that have come with PEBT. So they had a deadline that fell right before the hurricane. So I'm sure with that deadline and the questions that came about after that deadline, that they are just working really hard to try to get all of that answered as quickly as possible. But everybody in the Baton Rouge offices should be, they're back open today. So we should see that you should get some assistance in that area. Yeah, if there are specific questions about supply chain that you're having, please reach out to us and we can see how we can help you with that. We do hope that the majority of the supply chain issues, if we can possibly help with the use of those waivers that are available, you can ask for that for the entire school year, and hopefully that'll cover you. Also, we do know that your average meal cost is extremely higher than it normally is. The expenses were extremely high. Last year we had looked at making an adjustment to the average meal cost form to take into account all of those expenses that happened when we weren't filing claims. The struggle that we have this year is that the cost of foods have increased, significantly, and so it's hard to determine what is true, that we are just seeing a huge increase in costs, therefore an increase in the average meal cost, and what is unique to a situation like what we had last year where schools were closed. Our claim system, so we had blocked the ability to submit the school year 21-22 claims. They should be, if not yet, but very soon, you should have the ability to submit those claims. So we were blocking that so that we would have the ability to make sure that the data was coming in correctly, and then we would to make sure the data was accurate when it was being uploaded from this school systems that are uploading information to the claim. And so now that we've been able to look over some of that within the next day or so, you should have access to submit that claim. Any other questions? If anybody comes up with questions, feel free to email or call. We'd be happy to answer your questions. I know that this is kind of a rough day to come back for a call, being the day after a holiday, and some of you, it's the day that you've returned from being off of school for an entire week, and some of you aren't back yet. Some of you are coming back tomorrow. Some are coming back Friday. Some are coming next week. So just whatever whenever you're returning to school, if you start to have problems with supply chain, just call or email, and we'll be happy to help.